Hi, I'm Jeff Johnston, host of the Living Undeterred podcast. And after a little bit of technical difficulties, we're ready to rock and roll today. This will be a little bit shortened show. I was hoping to have them longer, but I'll have to get you guys. This is a good excuse to get you guys back on the show. So, Greg, Hillary, it's awesome to see you guys again. I'm just honored to have this conversation. And, you know, I respect both of you immensely for your own specific reasons, what you guys are doing to improve humanity. Before we get really deep into it, why don't you give my listeners a little background about you, about maybe how we met, and about what you're doing today?
Yeah, I'll go. I'm Hillary Phelps, and I met you, Jeff, through my partner, Greg, who's here with me. And it was one of those things, platonic love at first sight. As soon as we had a conversation, I was like, oh, you're my people. I love what you're doing in the world. And I think, about this idea of high tide raises all ships. And so the fact that we can all be here for this conversation is really exciting. My work is in the mental health recovery and female empowerment space. I'm 18 years sober and keeping it short and sweet, navigated, transitions as we all do. And I built a platform called The Right Room where I help other women navigate those transitions with grace and through somatic tools and community, so they feel less alone in whatever is coming up for them as they navigate this new transition and their next chapter.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. I can feel your passion.
Thank you.
Greg, and I know you have kind of a similar story. You and I were able to actually spend the first time we met together in a pretty intimate, intense environment. And, when two men share that, they bond pretty quick. You're like a brother from another mother for me, man.
It was so special. I still tell that story. I do. I talk about it. Yeah, we met, the common thread to us is, of course, Omani Carson and what he's doing to try to change the world. And I'm part of that ecosystem at OMIA, which is really, an invitation-only membership for visionary leaders who want to expand their consciousness, their capacity, and their capital impact. And when you take extraordinary humans who, like you, Jeff, are seeking to try to change the world and make the world a better place, and you put us all in what I like to call a black box, what comes out the other side of that is going to be special. And we don't even really have to know what it's going to look like.
Your cat's stealing the show, by the way.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so what do we have a name here?
Her name is Kitten.
Hi, Kitten. How old is Kitten?
Kitten's a year old.
Oh, I love this. Is what's fun, this spontaneity of life. I know a lot of people that take this stuff too seriously. And, Greg, when I spent that weekend with you and all the other people we had at the retreat, I just came away thinking, first of all, I'm not alone. There's a lot of people out there that have a mask, that go through life that, for whatever reason, feel like they're, I won't say better than other people, but feel like that the world revolves around them. And I was that guy before I went out to the ranch. And you get humbled quite quickly when you meet other people that are vulnerable and resilient. And I think what I've learned from Omia and both of you, and Hillary, I've just really got to know you, is that the more that we share these stories, the more that we all realize that, hey, you may look different, you may have a little bit more wealth, you may be a little bit more popular on social media, but at the end of the day, you cry the same. Your cuts bleed the same. Recovery is different for everybody, but in a way, it's kind of the same. It has a different face, but it has the same negative impact on families. So, but the fact you guys met and are such kindred souls, and I'm happy to kind of witness this unfold and see what you guys can do to create with your organizations kind of coming together. And I'm going to go back to Greg for a minute and just talk a little bit about OMIA, because I know OMIA is kind of I know for Omani, it's been up here for years, but actually putting pencil to the paper, having the idea come out, and then putting you in charge of it is quite great to witness, to be honest with you, what you guys are doing with OMIA. And I think I want to make it clear that it isn't just a bunch of rich people. It's people that you talk about conscious capital all the time, Greg. Maybe explain to people that follow me what is conscious capital. And it's not just those people that can write big checks. It's people that want to get together maybe with those that can write big checks, and we can move the world together.
Yeah, I think people, when they talk about conscious capital, it's really, how can I, everything in your life starts to revolve around being able to take your resources and the wealth and put it to work for humanity, put it to work to create impact. Where I think you're talking about at least those two double bottom lines where, where the impact you're creating is as important as the profit and everything else. And so what can we do collectively that can tackle some of the larger problems that we see and try to tackle them at scale? And when you get enough people thinking that way, and Omani is certainly one of them, that guy thinks, I love the saying, people talk about Elon Musk and look what he's done with space travel.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about him is he was always going to Mars. He needed a rocket to get there.
Right.
Now, that's big vision thinking, right? I mean, people talk about SpaceX, but that's just one step.
Yeah.
It's always been about going to Mars. And so when you have that level of thinking, you combine it with conscious capital and you put enough people into a container and a black box that believe, not only want to do good in the world, but believe they can do it and do it together. Omani's fond of saying, alone we go fast, but together we go far. I'm a huge believer in that. And Jeff, just the containers that you start to put together where you and I met, it was a pivotal moment for me. And I just want to stop for a second and acknowledge you for that. You played a huge role. And when I tell that story, I'm not bullshitting. I tell that story because you were a connection point for me that I had never really experienced as an adult man. The vulnerability and without saying too much and going too far.
Yeah.
What you and I shared there made a huge impact on me, and it let me see a side of myself that I wanted to see more of.
Right.
But I don't think I had access to or had allowed myself to go and to be a part of. And I got thirsty or hungry or whatever you want to say for more of it.
Yeah.
Right. More connection, more relationships like that, where you're getting deep with someone, you're connecting on another layer, and you're not talking about the surface level bullshit that it can kind of exist in our day-to-days.
Yeah.
So you were really pivotal in that for me.
Well, I feel it, man. I really do.
A lot of compassion. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
I mean, it was
I've
awesome.
got a saying, it's purpose becomes passion when it gets personal. It's like,
I love that.
Those are my marching orders. So Hillary, I'm going to ask you a question. So obviously recovery is a huge part of your story and your life. Why don't you go back to talk a little bit about when did you realize that you had an unhealthy relationship with substances, and maybe share what your, I hate the word addiction, but what your poor relationship was, as Charlie Ingle always says. What stopped serving you? I'm just interested to hear that and kind of how and I know you don't really get over it. You don't really win the fight. You're always in it every day, but what are some things you do to stay on the other side of the recovery fence? And what are some words of wisdom on this journey that you have for those that are currently struggling?
Yeah. I mean, so I think I discovered alcohol and marijuana and LSD when I was in middle school and then the beginning of high school when I was 14.
Middle school?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was 8th grade.
Yeah.
And I turned to it to self-medicate. I think looking back now, I had depression, but in the 90s, early 90s, that wasn't really a thing.
No one
people didn't
talked
talk about it. Right. And so when I found alcohol, I was like, oh, this gives me that relief I'm looking for. And coupled with, I believe it's a genetic brain disease. And so coupled with the fact that I already had the addictive gene, it was a perfect storm. And so I kept drinking for 15 years to self-medicate. And I was a wine drinker, but I was a blackout drinker too. And so every time I put alcohol in my body, I would black out and I'd forget what happened the night before. However, on the outside, I was still, I was a collegiate scholarship athlete. I held school records, Division I swimmer. So on the outside, things were still okay. And so I was able to use that excuse for a really long time and say, well, I have all these things. They're going really well for me. So I can't be an alcoholic. I can't be struggling with this if all of these, I can hold them all together. And I didn't lose a job or get a DUI or end up in jail. None of those. And so that kept me drinking for a really long time, and that there weren't many people talking about substance use disorder, specifically in women. And so in 2007, when I got sober, it was a really hush-hush thing. And so I kept it quiet for a really long time. And the thing that I do today, is share that in 15 years, I had you really did creep it. My dad died, I'd gone through a divorce, and I was like, no, I can't, I need this relief. And it had been all of the things that I'd been doing over the last 15 years, like community groups, recovery, 12-step meetings, meditation, yoga, like all of those things that I've accumulated, the tools that I turn to that really help me. And those are the things I do, on a daily basis that help me stay sober and grounded. And we talk about this, Greg and I talk, it's like, choose your hard.
Yeah.
Right. And so my hard is that I say it's high maintenance, that we meditate and we have really deep, intimate conversation, like real conversations, right. Greg's really goes to the gym every day. Like, we do these things that seem hard, but we can pick our hard and advocate for ourselves, embody these tools, or we can go back out to drinking and being a victim and really miserable. So our hard every day, and I think it's true for both of us, is that we do those things that keep us, that still our cup first.
Yeah.
It's not selfish, it's self-respect. And so those are the things that really are paramount in our life independently and together as a couple.
Okay, so I love what you said about choosing your heart. And what I like to think for me, and I've gone on 8 years, in a couple of weeks it'll be 8 years for me. And
Congratulations.
Is that I wanted to make drinking harder than not drinking. Like, I would have had to put more effort in to start drinking again. And so for me, it's easier not to drink. Whereas a lot of alcoholics say, well, it's easier if I just started drinking again. For me, it's the other way around. It's a lot more work for me to start drinking again. So, for me, I've had a odd relationship with alcohol, because I'm not going to lie, I've not struggled since I stopped. And maybe it's because I shared this on a podcast yesterday. And I don't know how this is going to sound, but I'm going to say it. But when you bury a child, you aren't sacrificing alcohol. I'm doing it in his honor. I'm getting my life back. And so I've reframed it as like, I'm not, I don't even like the word sober for me, because that implies I'm in some fight. Like there's some mythical battle between me and alcohol. I think of alcohol, I think of my son immediately. And I'm like, no, there's no pull on me. So I think for me in recovery, I have like this competitive advantage, because I've got this unbelievable heavy, I don't want to say guilt, but like, I feel like at times I let Seth down. And if I started drinking again, I would cement that thought. That thought would become, I would validate that thought if I started drinking again. So that's why my fight with alcohol is easy.
Yeah, we call it like that living amends.
Yeah, right.
Right? Well,
Right.
This is my promise moving forward. I can't go and change the past, but moving forward, this is my amends to you. And
I'm not going to drink him back alive. And then I watched what alcohol did to my wife. And that's why when I first met you and I heard your story about women in recovery, and I'm like, yeah, I witnessed this beautiful woman, 9 years younger than me, that when I met her looked like a young Madonna. She just brought a room to a standstill, just this beautiful young woman. And then I watched her when she died, 88 pounds in a wheelchair, and just how unnecessary, I don't want to say tragic, but how unnecessary the whole thing was for her. So in regards to, go ahead, Greg.
No, I was just going to say, Jeff, the stakes are high if you struggled with anything, any addiction, right?
Right.
And people who, they always say, we all find our bottom, right? And some people's bottom is the ultimate price. But I love the way you said that with honoring Seth and for me too, I'll be honest, I don't struggle with it. There's not any part of me that thinks drinking is a good idea, or maybe it'd be different today, ever. Right. But I have some similar motivations, and I wanted to just sort of share that. And
do you mind sharing those to the listeners?
Yeah, no,
Because I know
it.
your story quite well, and it's amazing what you've been through.
What you said resonates with me because, you know, I've had 2 parent suicides. My biological father was the kind of alcoholic they make movies about, all the things. And he wound up taking his own life when I was 12. But I'm at the end of a really, really ugly experience that no one should have to go through, but certainly, you know, a mother and her son. And I look at that, and I was 12, and at the time, we didn't know about therapy, right? We just didn't know. And I know my mom would have done whatever it took to you know, get me any help that I needed, but we didn't know. And so you just sort of put it behind you and you move on. And then my adoptive father, who became my best friend and mentor and just, you know, favorite person in the world, wound up taking his own life.
Yeah.
When I was 43 years old. And he was not an alcoholic. He didn't suffer from addiction, but he had other things going on. And so knowing what I know about this, I am statistically a lot more likely to commit suicide than someone who hasn't had this the same, you know, traumatic experiences that I've had with respect to suicide. So when I think about drinking, and I think about anything that would put me closer to that statistic and being that part of an inherited legacy that I didn't get to choose for my sons, the choice is simple.
Right.
I have 3 boys.
Yep.
I inherited this legacy. They will not. It stops with me. I break it. They will not get that legacy.
Right.
Not from me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
They have to make their own choices ultimately, but they won't get it from you.
1,000%, right? Because, and I get a chance to break that cycle. I get a chance to break the addiction. I get a chance to break the suicide. I get a chance to, and so when you said that about, you know, the way you did about, it's not even anything that comes to mind because of how the stakes are with Seth and how you would dishonor him.
Yeah.
That really lands, right? It really lands because I've got similar motivations, and anybody, if you play the tape all the way through, you know, you know, it's not a choice. That's going to change.
So Hillary, I got a quick question, if it's okay. I know when you go on podcasts, people inevitably always ask this question, but you have a relative that's a little well-known relative. Did that play at all an issue in your youth growing up? And maybe share a little bit about what it's like to be the sister to somebody who's such a household name in swimming. And did that play any role in regards to your struggles that you had, you know, as a sister to Michael?
In what way?
Well, just like, was there pressure? Was there added pressure for you to be a better swimmer, or was there comparison issues? Like maybe you didn't win as many, you know, medals as he won. You know, things that would have been very understandable.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was the fastest swimmer in the country when I was 11 and 12. And
so you were better than him.
So I was the oldest, right?
Maybe that was one of the reasons why he comes out and talks about his mental health, is he wanted to get better than you.
And so, you know, I was the straight A student, the fastest swimmer in the country at age 11 and 12. And when I hit depression.
I didn't know that. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, you're welcome. And started experimenting with drugs and alcohol.
Okay.
That changed. My sister was 3rd in the world at 14. She was 2 years younger than me. And then my brother is the greatest swimmer of all time. So swimming ran in our family. By the time I was in college, you know, I mean, it wasn't until 2003 when Michael really burst onto the international scene, and I was out of college. And, you know, I was thinking, it's different because he's a boy too. I mean, had it been a girl, maybe, but no, I mean, that didn't play any kind of role. The only, you know, I'd say it was quite the opposite. Him speaking out so publicly about his mental health was kind of the catalyst. And that was, I mean, not the reason why, but it was, you know, definitely the confidence to say, oh my gosh, she's speaking so publicly. And okay,
I mean, he was one of the early high caliber athletes that started talking about this issue.
He was one of the first to really talk, especially with depression. I'd say he really led the charge there. I mean, he's always been kind of that trailblazer. in that way. And, same with like the women in addiction. There weren't many women. I mean, now, a lot of women have I was not the catalyst in women speaking. That's not what I'm saying. But, I think the men in mental health is a really tough topic, and like women in addiction is a really, equally tough topic. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I think the pressures, especially for like, I again, I can only look at my lived experience with my wife, but raising 3 boys and, then losing the oldest, and, alcohol seemed to be a safe space for her. But I just watched it become such a difficult thing for her. And we tried to get all the help that we could. And ultimately, I guess that's to me, the biggest frustration is watching somebody you care about implode, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. There's nothing that you can do about it. And ultimately, and it sounds so like cruel and very rhetorical to say, well, until the person decides themselves, nothing's going to change. But isn't that the core truth of addiction?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I know there are people that were like, you have a problem, and it didn't matter. I was like, okay, well, I'll just stop hanging out with you. Or if it was like, well, then we're going to break up. Or, I would avoid people. Like I did everything to protect. They talk about alcohol or drugs becoming this best friend. It's trying to kill you, right? And so you'll do anything to protect it. And it was my experience. And
100%. You're not ready till you're ready. And no matter if people could say any, until you're ready you don't like what you see in the mirror, and you wake up. And for me, it was, what I call a not today moment, Jeff. I had that moment. I got, at the end of a 3-day drunkathon, I got up and looked in the mirror, and I hated what I was looking at. And I looked at myself and literally said the words, "Not today," out loud. And it was the last time I've ever had, I've never touched alcohol or had it in my body since. And you get to that point and you're just like, I surrender.
Yeah.
No more, hopefully. But all the things that people said along the way, when you're hard-headed like I am, and, you're going to learn every lesson you learn the hard way, it's just fuel.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to go prove you wrong.
Right.
I can be a really good drinker. I can be a world-class drinker.
Yeah.
And I'm not, but it's not from a lack of trying. Right. It's this game.
And that can be the frustrating part, right? For loved ones. Because it's like, it could literally be the random Tuesday, they wake up and they're like, yeah, I'm done. Meanwhile, wrecked a car and gone to jail and done all these things, and that wasn't it. And it's like, and people I talk to, it's like, you never know what that person's bottom's going to be. And family with loved ones are often like, well, I feel like that's really mean. And it's like, it could be the catalyst they need to get the help, because, if they're enabling, or if there's like,
and this what makes it so hard, Hillary, is that I remember when Seth was struggling, talking to my friends, it's like, oh, he's just got to hit rock bottom. He's just got to hit rock bottom. And then he went to prison. And I thought, I'm in Iowa. Not many dads I know have their oldest son sitting in prison, like 0. And 0 pass away too. So it was all new territory for me as a dad in regards to like, how can I learn from that with my other 2 boys? What lessons can I get so he doesn't die for nothing? That's like the worst case scenario when anyone dies, is that they die for nothing. And but I learned that the story, everyone's recovery journey is very unique. And I missed a ton of signals, obviously. But see, what people don't realize is I was in the middle of my alcoholism as well. So, when I wanted to be helping Seth and he was struggling, I went to the bottle. It numbed my pain. I didn't have to deal with it until tomorrow. Well, tomorrow never comes. And then for Seth, rock bottom obviously was fentanyl. But I think the lesson here is that you can't really intervene too early. And I think intervening is much better than interventions. And if we can intervene at the youngest possible age and have conversations. I mean, Seth's daughter, Brightn, asked me when she was 8, what was addiction? At 8 years old. His daughter. It's like, and I just went to obviously the iPad thing she had that we take away every night when she goes to bed, and she always throws a fit. I said, how does it make you feel when grandpa takes your iPad away?
Yeah.
That's addiction. But when you get to be an adult, they get to be very dangerous addictions. Your iPad's not really dangerous, although it is. But
Yeah.
But anyway, well, I guess what I like to do to wrap this up a little bit is to learn a little bit about your organization, both of you actually. Maybe Hillary, start with you. The name again, how can people contact you? How can we support you? And then we'll move to OMIA really quick and to get an idea about how we can support OMIA as well. So,
Thank you. So the platform is called The Right Room, and it's a container to help women navigate transitions. So I found that women, we put a lot on our plate. You've heard this, and I'll do this, I'll do that, and then we wake up and we feel like we've lost ourselves in serving other people. And so it's supporting those women through one-on-one coaching, group cohorts, a podcast. There's a Substack portion, and then also finishing up a book proposal now, specifically on women and addiction. And so all of that is at hillaryphelps.com. There's all the information about all the work that we do, the community that we're building, and we have a membership platform that's coming up in 2026 as a way to really connect women and meet them where they are.
yeah, I can't wait to support you when this thing rolls out. And
Thank you.
do what I can to help, because that's really what this is all about, to find people that are resilient and are putting their heart into something they're really passionate about. And when you're personally touched by something like recovery, and again, you don't have to have death in a family. You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, more families don't have death, but you still can have the devastation and destruction in a family with alcohol and drugs and all these things. So I think what you're doing is awesome. And I'm a part of the Real Foundation, which obviously you spoke at in New York about a month ago. And what a great organization now that they're adding the Allies, which is a whole army of powerful women like you that, are just not just talking, but doing something. And so I'm happy you're in my life. It's been great to know you in a short amount of time, and I know we're going to do a lot of work together. And so again, thanks for sharing. And Greg, you want to take a little bit with OMIA, and then we can wrap it up for today.
Yeah, Jeff, thanks so much for having us, and I always love talking to you. I always love digging in deep. And OMIA is, you're as much a part of the OMIA family as anybody is. You know how we feel about you at OMIA. But yeah, if you go to omia.life, you go to the website, it'll tell you a little bit about it. But like I said earlier, it's an invitation only membership for extraordinary humans, visionary leaders, people, change makers, creators, innovators, entrepreneurs, founders, you name it, who are trying to change the world, who want to create impact and change the world and want to align capital with capacity, with consciousness and community, coaching and connection. That's a lot of C words in there, but it's really all of those things. And it's so that we can go out and try to create as much impact in the world as we possibly can. And have a lot of fun doing it along the way. But omia.life is our website, and I'm Greg at omia.life if anybody wants to email and find out more about it. But you're such a big supporter, and we're big fans of yours and what you're doing, and with Brightn and the whole journey. So yeah, right back at you. Anything we can ever do to support you.
Well, it's great to see you guys, and I want to get you back on when we have a little bit more time and dig a little bit more deeper into human flourishing and ways that we can, pay back. I feel so blessed. I feel so grateful that in my worst moments of my life, when I was in the abyss and I was not wanting to live, literally, people there throwing in hands, pulling me out, and I want to be on the other end of that, to be able to throw my hand in and drag people out, kicking and screaming, and get them on the other side, because being in the abyss or looking into it ain't fun. You guys know that.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, right? Like, I think that's what we all do. And I love this quote. It's like you walk through the fire and then you turn around and help other people that are still in it, right? We take water back to the people that are still in it. And it's not about being an expert, right? Or being better than. It's about being a guide to people, saying like, your experience, my experience, Greg's experience, we've been there, we walked through it. There are people that are ahead of us that are helping us, reaching their hand back, and we're reaching our hand, to help you. And it's this beautiful continuum of healing and love and connection, which
we'll put all your contact information on the site. Love you guys dearly. Have a great, blessed holiday, and we'll see you guys on the other side.